There is one more topic that I want to cover with lists and tuples, and that is unpacking. Basically what that means is both lists and tuples can be unpacked in a way like this. We have A and B, and we are assigning a tuple to them. What this is doing, we are taking the first value and assigning it to the first variable, A and 10 in this case. And the second value gets assigned to the second value. And that way you are unpacking a tuple on two variables. This would also work with a list. You would have the exact same result. And let's have a look at all of this in code. So for example, what we can do, I have a variable called A and a variable called B. And I want to assign them to the values 10 and 5 inside of a list. And this is, well, all we need. If I now print A and print B, we are getting 10 and 5. We have unpacked this tuple on these two variables. Although keep in mind, this only works if you have the same number of items as you have variables. If, for example, I added a third item to this tuple, let's say a 1. If I run this now, we are getting an error that we have too many values to unpack, and Python expected 2, which we don't have. But if you have the same number of variables as you have in the tuple, you are good to go. And this would also work inside of a list. So let me add 2 more variables. Let's say C and D. And now we have a list with, 20. And this also works with strings. Let's say hello. If I now print C and I print D, we are getting 20 and hello. And this you can also make more powerful. Because when you are creating a tuple, you don't actually need brackets. For example, you can have a list like this, or you could create a list like this without the brackets. Just having values separated by a comma automatically creates a tuple. Although most of the time when you want to create a tuple, it makes more sense to write the brackets because it's clearer what you are doing. But you don't actually have to do it. Now, where all of this becomes really interesting is when you combine these two approaches. Because by doing that, you can assign multiple values to multiple variables on a single line of code, which is super powerful. For example, we have the variables A, B, and C, and we are assigning the values 1, hello, and 4.5. We have assigned values to 3 variables inside of a single line of code. So let's have a look at this one in practice, and then we can do an exercise. For example, for a video game, you could have health, you could have energy, and you could have a weapon. And this you could all assign inside of a single line. For the health, we could have 100, for the energy, we could have 50, and for the weapon, we could have a sword. And now, I could print weapon, for example, and all the way at the end, we are getting sword. And I hope you see the value of this. If you have to assign multiple variables, this is really useful to keep your code a bit more organized. And all right, this video is going to be a bit shorter. We can do the exercise right away. And what I want you guys to do is this. We have a variable 1 with the value 10 and a variable 2 with the value test. And I want you guys to switch the values of these two variables, meaning value 1 should have the value test and value 2 should have the value 10. So pause the video now and try to figure this one out. Alright, the solution here is actually incredibly simple. All you have to do is you want to assign value 1 and value 2. And what you want to assign them to is value 2 and value 1. Basically, what we're doing now is for value 2, we are assigning it to value 1, and value 1 gets assigned to value 2. This is basically how you would switch around different values across different variables. Meaning now, if I print value 1, let me run this, we are getting test. The value that used to be in the second variable.